I do have some new people here today. I know we've been doing a lot with our certificated staff. We have a lot of classified here today. So for those of you who don't know, this is our digital learning team. My name is Tina Lanu. I am one of the teachers on special assignments with ILE. We are so excited to be working with Amy to bring you guys Canva and all the different things Canva has to offer in our district. We will be recording the meeting. We already have a recording of it as well. And so we will be sending that out to you tomorrow, just in case you need a little refresher later on down the road. In ILE, we have our 5 big buckets. And so we're really looking at those foundational digital tools and also some of that design thinking for your students as they're using Canva. Our Q&A document, I will put it one more time in the chat because I do see that there have been some new people that joined. Our Q&A document will have a lot of information for you already that people have asked. Feel free to add your questions down there, look through. Maybe someone's already asked your question. If you would like to ask questions during our Zoom, you are more than welcome to as well using that Q&A Q&A button on your Zoom. And we will be answering those. Amy does an amazing job of answering those live. Otherwise, I will go through and type in answers if I have those answers for you as well. And then at the very end, we will be doing our time card. So please make sure you stick around. We do end at 5, so about 4:45 we will be stopping in order to get those time cards done with you guys, so that way you can get paid for your training, for your time that you were here for this training. So with that, I think that was my last slide. Oh, there we go. There's Amy. All right. So I will pass it over to Amy and let me stop sharing. And I don't even know how to stop sharing it. Maybe if I just close
It's
it out.
okay. I took over, Tina, if
Oh,
that's good
perfect.
for you.
Awesome. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you so much for hosting this afternoon session and welcome everyone. Truly thrilled and honored to be talking about Canva for Education. This is a platform that I truly think changed who I was as an instructor, and the fact that it's free and I get to be here and show you all some of my favorite things that make this one of my favorite platforms I've ever found. So let's go ahead and kind of get going with today's session. I realize that you all do not have kind of access to the chat situation. But if you do feel so inclined, you can kind of put in the Q&A in the Zoom. If you feel like you want to maybe kind of tell me where you're at with your Canva comfort level. If not, that's totally fine. I'm just going to briefly introduce myself and let you all know that I am your district's Canva learning consultant. Y'all, I taught elementary school for a while, both on the East Coast and in the Midwest, and now currently a West Coaster. So I've kind of hopped all the way over across the country. And my fun fact for the evening is I'm obsessed with my fur child, Winston, which Tina mentioned I saw her earlier today, and he was not happy that I was talking with Tina and her colleagues instead of giving him some love. So this is our agenda for this evening. We're briefly going to go over what is Canva for Education. I want to talk about what you, and just give you a brief preview of what students can do in Canva. We'll get into our Canva accounts together. I want to make sure everybody can log in. And then we're just going to go over some Canva basics in terms of the Canva ecosystem, how to get started, and then some of my favorite editor basic skills. So again, this session is meant to be interactive with you in Canva. So I promise we'll go through the whole login process. The first 2 sections, though, of our agenda, I am going to just kind of be giving some background information, so bear with me here. But just wanted to kind of introduce Canva for Education. It's just a really powerful way for you to create engaging visual communications for any audience. So this could be your colleagues if you all are co-planning or a part of a PLC. It could be your students in the classroom, and it can be your larger school and school community, as well as your larger outward facing public community, kind of showcasing everything that's going on in your incredible school. When you all log into your Canva for Education account, you have access immediately to a few different Canva doc types. So I just kind of want to put this out into the universe that you have access to Canva docs. We also have what we call Canva whiteboards, so think infinite space. A lot of folks know Canva as a way to kind of create presentations or slide decks. You can also use Canva to create social media assets, as well as we have a built-in video editor to the Canva for Education platform. You can print your Canva creations as well as create websites. So there's truly so much that you can do in the Canva suite. I mentioned earlier that I fell in love with Canva because as teachers, I'm always on the lookout for that next new free thing. And the amazing thing about Canva as an organization is we truly believe that education is a human right. So no matter where students are born, raised, and going to school, they should have access to top-notch technology. So we as an organization are committed to providing the entire visual suite to K-12 schools and districts across the globe authentically for free. So we have set up Riverside USD on the back end for free. Everybody within your district domain gets a free Canva for Education account. And then all of the PD that we facilitate is also 100% free. Because we want to empower everyone to create, collaborate, and communicate in the classroom and beyond. In addition to those Canva doc types I mentioned, you all at your fingertips when you log into your Canva account also immediately have access to Canva's template-made library. So that means that you have 80,000 education-specific templates that are ready for you to find. And then any template in Canva's template library is 100% customizable. So even if you like the content, but maybe not like the color scheme or the layout, remember everything you can customize to ensure that it meets your learners' needs. In addition to our education template library, you also have access to our other Canva templates. You might know them as Canva Pro templates. So think anything from email signatures to pitch decks or even resumes. So things that might sound a little bit more businessy, but you and your students could potentially use them to create in your classroom. And maybe my favorite part about Canva when I found it was that I no longer had to look for non-pixelated, non-watermarked, non-trademarked images to use when I was creating instructional materials for my classroom. So within Canva, we have what's called our element library, where you all can access over 100 million high quality audio and visual assets. We call them elements in Canva speak, to your Canva creations. So think anything from videos to images to graphics to stickers, emojis, you name it, you're going to be able to find it and really customize your Canva creation. In addition to Canva's element library, you also have Canva Pro editing features like background remover, magic resize, and then tons of storage for all of your creations. The thing that I really love about Canva, I love a lot of things, y'all, so don't hold me to one thing that I love, but I do love that when we allow students to get into Canva and to begin to create and take that new learning and thinking and make it visible to their audience, they are practicing and learning skills that are going to stay with them throughout the rest of their lives. So things like adaptability, flexibility, collaboration, entrepreneurship, as well as multitasking, communication, critical thinking, you name it. Our students are able to practice that when they are creating and in that design thinking process in Canva where they're iterating over and over again. So that's a big kind of picture of Canva. Let's kind of dial in a little bit and talk specifically about how we can kind of divide up Canva's existing template library to kind of give you a view into how you might be able to think about using some of these existing templates to support your creation process and kind of workflow. So the first kind of angle that I like to approach the template library from is when you're looking to create teaching resources and instructional materials. So within the Canva template library, you could utilize our presentation templates. So again, anything from lessons to gamified presentations. We even have icebreaker presentations. Again, these are all pre-made and that you can utilize for your classroom use. We have instructional video templates as well as bite-sized learning templates. We have an entire poster template library. I love that each of these posters, though, is fully customizable. So perhaps if the vocabulary doesn't necessarily match exactly with maybe your prescribed curriculum, you're able to go in and still use that poster, maybe just edit up some of the text so it aligns across your use case in your classroom. The second angle I like to look at Canva's template library from is, okay, all of these templates exist, but how might I be able to apply some of them when I'm looking for authentic ways for my students to collaborate in the classroom? And I don't necessarily want to start building something from scratch. Well, I mentioned that Canva has whiteboard doc types, but we also have whiteboard templates that can easily be applied into that doc type. So things like a group brainstorm or potentially a mind map or a KWL chart, where really the power is that infinite space. And no matter how many students are potentially collaborating together, or even if it's their own individual mind map, they're never going to run out of space to show what they know. We also have graphic organizer templates that are pre-made that again can be applied across any curriculum. We have collaborative storybook templates as well as group work templates. I know this sounds a bit vague, but stick with me here. You might find something like a group scientific lab or a group persuasive essay in this kind of group work category. And now ultimately thinking about Canvas template libraries from that student creation perspective. So how could students utilize some of these pre-existing templates to really take their new learning and understanding and create something brand new to showcase to their audience? You could have students create digital portfolios in Canva, custom infographics, which are a great way to encourage students to not only be succinct, what are the main ideas, key supporting points, but when my audience looks at this infographic, are they able to digest and understand all of those important details I found in my research? You could have students create a documentary video and then edit it up in Canva, as well as digital notebooks. And I could go on and on. I know some of you in Riverside on the ILE team that have been with me for a couple of sessions, so you might be able to kind of understand how much I love Canva. But for those of you who are just meeting, I'm going to choose just a few more I want to highlight for you all. One of them that I feel like is often overlooked is we have comic strip templates. And as somebody who used to teach science and archaically ask my students to write what the procedure was, I wish I had thought about that a little bit more creatively and allow them to show what the procedure was. They could have made a comic strip that visually showcases all of those different procedural steps. So anything that where you're having students kind of work through a sequence of events, you could have them create a comic strip, maybe retelling a story, or even some sort of historical timeline, have them turn it into a comic strip. We also have certificate templates, which again can be customized either to your school community or your specific, if you have like a classroom brand or something. We also now have the option to bulk create certificates, so you can upload a CSV or Google Sheet. If you want Canva to kind of create a batch of certificates, you just kind of like map what the data to the fields on the certificate, and it's super easy process. And one more I wanted to point out, let me see. It is escaping me right now. Yes, but I wanted to show you all, is it the coupon? Okay, I wanted to show you all the coupon, thinking about like different school events especially from like an associated student body perspective, how easy it is for students to get involved in maybe some sort of event planning and process, and kind of allow them to take over that creative process, create the coupons or the tickets for a particular event, where truly you're kind of handing over that creativity to your student class representatives, who then are able to easily create in Canva. So I know I've kind of talked a bit. Let's go ahead and hop into the Canva platform to make sure that everybody can kind of sign in, because y'all, truly with Canva, anything is possible. So for the next little bit, I am going to be demoing things live. But Tina was amazing, already shared today's slides with you all. So again, remember, you can always come back to these slides whenever you want, but we're going to take a moment and log in. So the really awesome thing, sorry, I realized I didn't talk about this procedure. Please bear with me. You can log into Canva a multitude of ways. So if you're a bit old school like me, you can always just go to canva.com. In the top right, you can hit login. This window will pop up, and you should be able to either click continue with email and use your district email address, or I believe you all can click login with Google. If you're already logged into your district email, in the top right where you see your Google waffle, you should be able to just select those 9 dots that I call the Google waffle, and you should be able to scroll down and find the Canva icon or logo and be able to kind of be pushed right into Canva. So again, if everybody on this afternoon's session could take a minute to log in. If you are having trouble, if you could go to the Q&A part of the bottom of your Zoom and let us know so we can kind of help troubleshoot. Otherwise, I am going to continue on, but for the rest of the session, it would be awesome if you could be in your Canva and follow along with me. So I also want to give you some time if you want to set your screen up to split screen. So let me show you how you might be able to do that. You can go, if you have your Canva open in a browser tab here, you can go to the top right where you see the kind of like dash, squares, and then the X. Don't hit the X. But the middle button here, when you hover over it, you can kind of determine how you want to split your screen. And you could have My Zoom on the left and your Canva tab on the right. So you do not have to do this, but I just kind of wanted to show you if you do only have like your laptop that you're on, so you can see what I'm doing on the left-hand side in the Zoom, or the right, however you prefer to set it up. And then you have your Canva tab open where you're able to kind of play and follow along. Okay, I'm not seeing any issues come in the Q&A in the Canva chat. That's not what I mean. The Zoom chat. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, most folks were able to get in and you have had a moment to kind of set yourself up. Just want to go over a few really kind of basic things so you feel empowered when you're in your Canva account. So if you do not see a left-hand sidebar when you get to your Canva homepage, also, sorry, y'all, I'm realizing if this is your first time signing in, you might have windows popping up saying like, how do you want to get started in Canva? Invite these people, all of this stuff. Whatever you need to do, either click skip or close out of those boxes, like X out in the top right, skip through it, whatever it is. I forget that some of you might be super brand new users. So skip through that so that you're at your Canva homepage and kind of follow along with me here. So once you're hopefully on your Canva homepage, you're going to hit the top left button. If you do not see a left-hand sidebar here, we call it the hamburger button, but it's right next to the Canva logo in the top left. Underneath that, you're going to see a rectangle here, and this is essentially what I call our Teams switcher. So if you had a Canva for Education account before Riverside USD went kind of like district-wide setup, you're going to see it should be like your first name, last name, and their class. So it might say like, for me, Amy Delaire's class, and next to the person icon, it's just going to be a number 1. So you haven't lost anything. All of your previous designs are there. You just need to toggle back and forth between your previous account and your new district account. If you're like, Amy, I have no idea what you're talking about because I don't have this drop-down menu, then you don't need to worry about it. But I will say, I would encourage you moving forward to stay within your new district team because you're going to get all of the benefits, the Canva Pro features, as well as the ease when it comes to collaboration with your colleagues when you're part of your larger team. Some of you may be like, okay, Amy, that's cool, but I'm a member of 3 teams. How do I know which team to be in? My rule of thumb is stay in the Canva team that you're going to collaborate with folks the most when you're creating in Canva. So that's kind of like my best practice there. And I will also show you all, those of you who maybe had Canva for Education before your district went district-wide, how to copy those designs over in a second. So don't worry. Just want to show you all one more thing though. Obviously, Canva wants to get you started designing and creating. You can search here. You can use some of these icons that I kind of showed you all in the slides previously. And as you scroll down, you have this section on your Canva homepage called Recent Designs, which is phenomenal. So the amazing thing about Canva that I was so excited about is that once you open something in Canva, it's always going to live in your recent designs, always. But once you open something in Canva, it's going to be here in your recent designs. So if you've opened 82 things in the past 24 hours and 3 months from now, you want to find something, it might be really tricky to try to scroll here and try to find exactly what you're looking for. So let me take you into the Projects tab on the left-hand side of your Canva homepage so that I can show you how you can more efficiently find your Canva creations. So again, left-hand sidebar of the Canva homepage, hit Projects. It has the 2 manila folders as the icon, and you're going to hop into essentially all of the Canva creations you've ever been shared on, ever been opened, all of that sort of stuff. Underneath the Projects kind of like page title here, you're going to see you have a few drop-down options. So as I'm going through and kind of talking, if you do have your screen split, please feel free to poke around, hit buttons to see what happens, so that you're able to kind of figure out how you can best find your things in the future. So underneath the first drop-down menu, you could potentially search for any owner. So you're like, I don't know who started this. We were all at a meeting together and I was like, was it my colleague? Was it me? I don't know, but I could say any owner and then maybe put in a keyword at the top here. Or if you know shared with you, but you have no idea about exactly who, you could say shared with you. Or this is my favorite part, you can just begin to type in a colleague and they should auto-populate here. And then you can kind of filter down everything that person has shared you on. Quick note about Canva, the way the platform is set up is that it is private by default. So this is not everything my colleague has ever made. You do not have access to that. You only have access to things that they've actively shared you on. So just keep that in mind. Again, everything you make is private by default unless you add somebody to your creation. The next drop-down menu allows you to kind of sort if I only want comic strips or if I only want presentations that we've kind of worked on together, I can filter in that way. You can also add in a date modifier here. I showed you all, well, I mentioned that you can come up to the magnifying glass. This is kind of further up in the middle of the projects tab, and add in potentially a keyword. And then on the far right-hand side, you do have the drop-down option to sort by most relevant, how recently it was edited, as well as alphabetical order. Now, let me show you really quickly how, if you already had a Canva account, you would copy things over to your new district team. My suggestion would be to first create a folder. So the way you're going to create a folder is to come up to the top right here where you see the addition sign and the words add new. So again, I'm in the projects tab, top right, look for the add new button. And then when you select that, you'll get this drop down menu to add a new folder. So maybe I'm just going to say, copy this over, old designs. And it should, oh, it's because I was playing around with these drop down menus, but now it should, if I select me, here we go, copy this over, old designs. So what I could do is kind of go to my designs, and maybe I want to hover over the top right corner, move this to a particular folder, copy this over folder. Okay, so now that is in that folder. And then once I have everything kind of in there, hover over the far right-hand side of this folder. Say you want to copy it to another team, and then you'll send it to your new district team. Two more things I want to show you all on the projects tab is they're both found under this add new button in the top right. You can also upload, so select the upload button and you can upload anything from your device. So this could be photos, videos, audio files, PowerPoints, all kinds of different kind of previous file format types. You can upload them to Canva, and I call it like Canvatize it from there. I also love to point out that you can upload any PDF into Canva and fully edit it. So this goes for maybe past forms or past documents that you no longer have the original of. This also goes for lessons. So maybe your curriculum, when you download a particular lesson, it comes off in PDF format. You could upload that lesson into Canva, that PDF of the lesson, and everything becomes editable. You can change text, you could modify text, you could level text. You could even go into the recording studio and record yourself reading that text if that's a modification that a student needs for that particular lesson. So again, everything can be uploaded to Canva, and kind of think of it as like renovating it and giving it some new life. The other thing I want to point out is everything you've already created in Google can also be directly brought into your Canva account. So again, under this add new drop-down menu in the top right, the bottom option is called import from app. So the first option here is going to be Google Drive. When you select this, you're not going to see this on my screen, but the first time you select this, a window is going to pop up saying like, wait, hey, are you sure that you want these two platforms to share information back and forth? You're going to say, yes, I do give Google permission. And then once you do that, it will look like this, and you'll be able to access all of your Google Drive folders. So I could find anything I've previously created in Google and then upload it and bring it right on into Canva and kind of renovate from there. Quick thing about the Google Drive though, it's only your personal Google Drive right now. You can't access documents or files that are a part of a shared Google Drive to bring in directly to Canva. However, you could potentially download those from the shared Google Drive and then upload them manually, but you can't kind of find them here in this window that pops up. Okay, I do want to take a moment. Tina, am I following? There's no questions so far in the Q&A, but should I go to this tab to make sure?
So there was only one question in the RUSD one. So the question, and I I think I answered it correctly, but we can ask you. It's asking when choosing the team, should you choose the one with only one person or with 983 in it? And I said, really, it's personal preference because everything you start is going to be private.
Yes.
You will have to share it with someone and add them to it. Am I correct?
Yeah, the only other benefit to being in that team with 900 and some people, which I know seems overwhelming, but again, I promise you everything is private by default. But all of this stuff where I'm potentially trying to find things people have shared me on, I can type in another coworker's name. I don't even finish it and they're popping up. So all of that, and when we go into the Canva editor and talk about sharing, when you go to type in somebody's name, all of that will pre-populate if you're a part of that multi-member team. It is not going to be as easy to collaborate if you're in a team of one. Everything's going to be like a little bit harder. Now,
Okay.
can you do it? Of course, but kind of the benefit of being in that larger team is the ease of collaboration with others when
Okay.
you want to invite people in.
Got it. And then if it only, so it has to say education, correct? For it to have all of that. So if it's that is missing, what would be the next steps? Is that on our end?
Yes, that is
Okay.
something that we need to fix on the back end.
Okay.
However, if it says free or personal under your team, that might be a free account associated with your RUSD district email address. There's only an issue if you don't have an option to be in a team that says education.
Got it.
So some people might have something that says free or personal, and that's okay because they previously had a free account. But they are not going to, when they're in that team, it's still going to prompt them to pay for all of those pro features, and it's going to continuously prompt them to like upgrade their account. So if they don't want that kind of, I guess, like annoying aspect of it, and if they want access to all of the pro templates and elements and that sort of stuff, they need to make sure they're in a team that says education under the team name. Great
Okay.
point. I did not bring that up in this session. So thank
Oh,
you, Tina.
I think you may have mentioned something, but I just remember too. I've listened to this presentation quite a few times.
You're like
So
a Canva
Melissa,
pro.
Melissa, I can talk to you about it tomorrow or another day and we can get you going.
Situated.
Yep.
Yeah. Great call. Okay. All right, y'all. So that is like nitty gritty, but truly, this is going to be so powerful 6 months from now when you're like, oh, I can't find what I need. Or in 2 days from now when the bell's about to ring and you're like, where are the slides that I made for today? And instead of doom scrolling on that homepage, just come on into the projects tab and use those filters to find exactly what you're looking for. So we're going to leave the projects tab and now get to my favorite part, getting to play in some of the templates. So y'all can hit back to home. We're going to go back to our Canva homepage. Now, obviously you can click any of these icons to get started. It's kind of just like personal preference, but I am going to show you my favorite way to get started, which is just putting my cursor in the search bar. Please make sure I was playing in my projects tab earlier, so that is kind of highlighted here. Just make sure you click templates and then you'll be searching in our template library. So maybe we can look for a presentation and I'll type in, I never do social studies. So let's step out of our comfort zone and I'm going to type in social studies. Whoa, y'all, here we go. Okay, we have 137,000 social studies presentation templates, which is wow. But let's go through how we can narrow that down because nobody needs to doom scroll through that many. I didn't know when I first started in Canva that I could filter these. So please hit this all filters button after you search. And from here, you can expand different categories. You could say if you want like a certain style of presentation, theme, if there's a feature, you can also filter by grade level. So this could be really helpful to kind of bring it down. and or subject area. Let me see. There we go. View. You might have to hit view more. Now I'm going to click social studies. I'm going to hit, oh, and then once you click the subject area, the topic kind of expands. So do I want something on history, geography, culture and society? For right now, for today's demo, I'm just not going to hit any of these, but I just want to show you that once you hit a subject area here, this topic expands depending on which subject area you selected. I'll hit apply. And now we have 480 templates, which is way better than like 140,000 to scroll through. But I do want to show you one more thing. When you hover over the top right corner of any template, this does not need to be a presentation. You're going to see this little hidden button here with these 3 horizontal dots. You're going to get either, sometimes it pops up, sometimes it pops down, but this pop-up menu, and you have this option here to preview this template. I literally never did this before I joined the Canva team. And my colleagues were like, you didn't know you could do this? And I was like, no, I had no idea. So now I can see all of the pages in a much larger format. But as you scroll down, you're going to see, based on the one that you're currently previewing, Canva's going to say, oh, looks like Amy's trying to make something on rural, urban, and suburban. Here's the 25 closest templates to the one she's currently previewing. So rather than scrolling through all 480 of those templates, I can select one that's kind of on the path to what I'm going for, topic area or content-wise, or maybe even design-wise, depending on what you're creating. And then just preview it. Just go for it, preview it. And then from there, you can further kind of filter down. So maybe this one, oh, see, now I'm going back into science. I need to stay in my social studies zone here. So maybe I'll hover over this one here, hit those 3 dots, preview this template. And then when you're ready, hit customize this template. Now we're in what we call the Canva editor. So we're no longer in the Canva homepage. You know you're in the Canva homepage because the Canva homepage is always going to be a bright white background. When you're within the Canva editor, you're going to see a kind of like ombre colored header bar across the top, and then a left-hand sidebar with all of these different black editing tabs, okay? You can hit apply all pages if you have selected a template with multiple pages. And then we're just going to go over some editing tips and tricks and sharing and stuff from there before we wrap up. But I truly want to give you time to play. So again, to recap, from the Canva homepage, hit one of these icons or type in your search to the search bar. Just make sure you have templates highlighted. You just hit enter. Tell it what you want. Do you want a comic strip? Do you want a presentation? Do you want a menu? Do you want a business card? Do you want an email signature? Search maybe for something, especially if you're an advanced Canva user, search for a template, a library you've never gone into before. Add in keywords like the content area, or even kind of like the general. So for instance, I think it was earlier today, Tina, I was doing like animal adaptations. Like that is very specifically a part of science, but I just decided to type in more of like the unit, and turns out we had templates for that. So this is your time to play. Select the all filters button that pops up on the left. Just hit different buttons and see what happens. See how when you hit different filter options, how that changes your results. And then hover over the top right corner, select those 3 dots, preview this template, and then kind of scroll down in this preview window and continue that kind of curation process from there. When you find something you like, you're going to hit this purple customize this template button and pop you into the Canva editor. So I'm here if you have questions, but I'm going to stop talking. I want to give you 4 minutes to play. We will all come back together around 4:30. So please push yourself, try something new, especially if you are an experienced creator. Search a new Canva template library and see what you can find. Here, if you have questions, otherwise go ahead and play and we'll come back together. Oh, now it's about 4:31. So if you need a few more seconds to finish up, remember your goal is to have something open in the Canva editor. It can be whatever kind of makes your heart sing this afternoon, whatever you kind of want to play around with. If you did select something that has multiple pages, you can always hit this button when you come into the Canva editor. I always like to just hit apply all the pages so I have them. And then if I don't use them, no big deal. When you hit apply all 14 pages, just give it a second. It does take a couple of seconds to load. And then down here at the bottom, you can really easily drag and drop if you want to rearrange things. And as you're creating in Canva, please know that everything saves as you go along, as long as you have access to the internet. If you play around, try things, you don't like it, you can always hit this back arrow or Control Z on your keyboard, and it will revert back to the previous formatting. Please learn from things I wish I had known, but when you come into the Canva editor and open anything in Canva, it's going to automatically save as either whoever made the template, what they named it as, and that may not be how you're going to use this creation in the future. So maybe this has to do, like this template is called Brown and Beige Scrapbook Travel and Tourism Presentation, but maybe I'm using it as a timeline of the Roman Empire, or whatever that may be. So when I go to type in Roman Empire in my projects and try to find this, it's not gonna come up. So please, the first thing I try to remember to do is click up here in this teal, blue, purple kind of ombre header bar across the top and change the name. Now, depending on your screen resolution, you may not see kind of like this big rectangle like I do, because I do have a larger kind of like wider monitor I'm sharing right now. But never fear, you can still find this underneath the file drop-down menu. Just put your cursor up here at the top, delete whatever that random template name is, and maybe name it whatever you're going to kind of, you can just say Canva demo or whatever you want to name it so that you'll find it in the future. So I've renamed mine so I can look for it again in the future. On the left-hand sidebar, this is where you're going to be able to find all of the different editing tabs to be able to kind of change and customize your Canva creation. So I told you all that in Canva Speak, an element is any sort of design that you add to your Canva creation. So y'all can go ahead and hit that Elements tab. And maybe I don't love one of these elements on my page. I can just hover over it, click on it, and highlight it. So again, an element is a photo, a text box, you name it, just click on it and you'll be able to potentially delete it. And now I want to replace it with maybe a different globe. So I'm just going to type in globe into my element search bar. And then from here, I could decide, do I want a graphic of a globe? Maybe I want a photo. So there's different categories of these elements that you have access to underneath your element search bar. So maybe I do want a graphic of a globe, and maybe I like this one better. So all I did was just click on it. Canva inputs it into your design. I can pick it up. I can drag a corner out and make it bigger. And some of our Canva graphic elements, you'll see that you're able to change hex code colors. So across the horizontal toolbar here, right underneath the colorful header, you're going to see potentially different hex code color boxes of graphic elements. You can click those hex code color boxes. So maybe if I want these particular kind of dark brown accent lines to maybe be more like a light brown color. And maybe if I want the kind of like metal part of the globe to be a little bit golder, I guess you might say. And now I've kind of changed that a bit to maybe fit with my design aesthetic. You can also potentially flip your Canva elements horizontally as well as vertically. And play around with transparency. So that's the checkered flag up here in the horizontal toolbar. You can bring the transparency down. A few of my favorite search terms are adding 3D to whatever you're searching for. So I still typed in globe, but this time I put 3D. I'm going to go to graphics. And this could be a really fun way to maybe get more of like a more three-dimensional type of design. Now I realize with my particular scrapbook design, this doesn't really go, but I just wanted to show you all some of my favorite kind of search terms. The other one I love is whatever you're looking for and then add sketch after it. So remember, it doesn't have to be a globe. I'm just demoing with this. So it could be evergreen tree sketch or whatever you're looking for, add sketch to the end. Or my other favorite one is whatever you're looking for, add doodle. Doodle and sketch kind of have like the same results sometimes, but depending on your style and what you're looking for, you might find something just like a little bit different. Then any text box in Canva, you can click in. And let me zoom in so y'all can see this a bit more. And literally, it's just like a ton of other programs. Just click in, delete the text, and add in your new text. To change the font, again, you just have to click on that particular text element or maybe text box. You can come up to the font here. You could type in a certain type of font. So maybe I want like a typewriter. And I don't need to know the font name. I can just tell Canva what type of font I'm looking for. And it will kind of sort the hundreds, maybe thousands of fonts that we have to be able to find one that works for you. Changing the font size, you can obviously change the text color here. Keep in mind, I don't know why, but some Canva fonts you cannot make bold or italic. I'm sorry, there's no fix for that. You'll notice though, when you find this font and you're like, oh yes, this is gonna be awesome. But then you go to edit it and you can't make it bold or italic. So I'm sorry, there's no fix for that. Just kind of pay attention. You can play around with uppercase, lowercase here. And so many other things. So I want to give you all just a couple minutes to play, and let's take 1 minute to playing around with Canva, searching for Canva elements and bringing them into your creation here, as well as playing around with some font. And then we'll come back together and talk about some sharing and be sure we answer any questions. So again, take about 1 minute. Ooh, great question. Okay, I've got two awesome questions coming in. Let me demo those really quickly and then I'll talk about sharing. Okay, first question. Is there a way to change the entire color scheme of a project? Yes, this blew my mind when I figured this out. If you all can follow along with me, you're going to go to your design tab in the top left of your left-hand sidebar. So you have to be in the Canva editor, hit design. Now, if you're like me and you kind of land back up on the template that you selected, no worries. Just hit this back arrow here and essentially you'll be taken to like the landing page of the design tab. You'll come over to styles. So again, design, styles, and then you'll be able to scroll down and see all of these different potential color palettes. So you're going to see this category called color palettes. On the right-hand side, you want to click this See All button. Now, this, I used to spend way too much time I wasted of my life being like, I don't like this color scheme, but I like art, so I can find colors that work together. And then it looked absolutely hideous. So you can come here. Canva's graphic design team has already preloaded some different color schemes that work well together. So you can just select one and then hit the arrows again. I love this part. And it will kind of preview what it looks like to have those different colors be dominant versus supporting colors. Here, let me move this. This is kind of in the way here. And then when I find kind of like a mix that I like, I can hit apply to all pages down below. Here, let me pick a different one so you can see how it updates across. This one's like a little bit darker here. I'll hit apply to all pages, and now it updates across the entire document. You can do the same for font sets as well, rather than changing like one text box at a time. Just come down, sorry, I went too fast, y'all. So from the color palettes, hit this back arrow next to the color palette title. Scroll down and you'll see font sets. Click see all. Select a font set, and it will kind of preview one page. So it's going to be a header, subheader, and body font that all already work well together. You'll hit apply to all pages, and boom, now you have a new cohesive kind of color scheme as well as font sets applied across all of your pages. Okay, so anonymous attendee, hope I answered that one. Is there a way to click multiple text boxes and change the font of all of them at once? Yes, you could potentially. So you can, this gets a little tricky, so it's kind of up to you, but you can potentially drag, or I like to click a text box, then hit shift, and that kind of, and click the other text box, and that kind of groups them together. And then from here, you could just select the new font and it will kind of change across both text boxes. The other way that you could do this is that you could click and drag and try to highlight both text boxes, but it gets a little cumbersome if you have lots of layers already. Here, let me move that out of the way. But see how all I'm doing is clicking and dragging. Now I've got these two text boxes and I can find a new font for both of them at the same time. Another way, I know I just moved this background out of the way, but let me show you really quickly. Another way to potentially deal with that when you're trying to click and drag is I could highlight this background or whatever element is like moving and annoying you and come up to this padlock icon and lock it. So now when I click and drag across these, interesting, hold on one second. That's really weird. Oh, maybe because it's already grouped. Hold on, let me try this again. Fascinating. So I would still be able to click, hold down shift, and kind of highlight those. But that's how you can lock down certain elements so they don't move. Okay. In the top right of your Canva editor, oh goodness, we're at time. So really quickly, this is the last little bit here. You're gonna see the share drop-down menu, very top right. It's a white rectangle. This is why you wanna be in that team with the 900 people. Go ahead and type in a colleague that's in that team, start to type in their name, and you'll see that they auto-populate. So it's like super easy to share with them. Please know though that it defaults to can edit. So if you don't want the person you're sharing with to be able to edit, you can just change it to can comment or can view. You can also potentially collaborate with a link that's kind of underneath here. You can say maybe anyone from your that particular team can edit or comment and view. So make sure you're sharing the permissions. If you want to print your Canva creations, you have to download it first and then send it to a printer. So download is found in the share drop-down menu as well. So share, down to download, select the type of file that you want. So I would probably do PDF standard for this. You can select all the pages, certain pages, all that good stuff, hit download, and then send it to your printer. The last thing I want to show you all that we're not going to have a ton of time to go through, but I'm just going to put a bug in your ear, is that if you go to more, so again, share drop-down menu, more, and you scroll all the way down, there's so many fun ways you can create a template link. You could turn this into a website. I mean, there's just seriously so many things you could do. But if you scroll down, this is where you could also send this back to your Google Drive. Keep scrolling, and you're going to find a Google Classroom button. So this is where you could potentially turn this into a Google Classroom assignment for your students. You would just link your Canva to your Google Classroom. Oh, interesting. Mine's making me sign in. Let's see if I can do this on the fly and remember. Okay. Then you would be able to select your class you would want to turn this into an assignment for. If it lets me. And then you would essentially assign it to your students. So it's a pretty easy workflow. You just kind of have to know to scroll down, find Google Classroom. There we go. And then turn it into an assignment. And then this looks just like you all are used to. All right, y'all. So I know that was a whirlwind session. Thank you so much for your willingness to hop into Canva. I am going to pass it back to Tina. Remember, the slides are here for you all as a resource. And can't wait to see what you and your students create in Canva this school year.
Oh, there we go. All right. Awesome. Thank you so much, Amy.